Merry Christmas, one and all. Welcome to Arsenal above all. I've got the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, the Arsenal Jason Bourne, Neil Shah with me to talk about a nice trip back to South London. We went 3-point collecting and slapped Palace around. Again, we knocked about the cup midweek and we dealt with them in the league thanks to our angel, Gabriel Jesus. We've got that to talk about. And also the big news which broke today about Bukayo Saka's injury and what that kind of entails for us as the season goes on, looking like a 6 to 8 week job of him being out of action. How do we get through that? We'll talk about that and a lot more. But of course, without further ado, let's go. Welcome to the show, Neil. How are you doing, man? How's your Christmas preparations going?
Wonderful. If Arsenal's Jesus and the reborn son has anything to go by, I'm doing wonderful, mate. If there has ever needed to be an example of a confidence player, he's the man.
That's him. Now, thanks for coming on, Neil. Really appreciate it as always. It's always great to have you on. And get your thoughts of what was a really interesting game, an entertaining game. Let's say that. Maybe not as entertaining as the one we saw yesterday with the clown show from Ange's super team, the most courageous team of all time and the most entertaining team of all time and all that nonsense. But schoolboy stuff. But it was an entertaining game, Neil, and obviously we were all kind of in the depths last week after the 0-0 against Everton and sort of, down in the dumps and everything. But obviously we bounced back midweek with Gabriel Jesus, playing in such an inspired way, in that second half with that hat-trick, brilliant hat-trick. And it continued. What's your thoughts on just his return to form? You kind of touched on it, but I kind of thought the guy's done. We're not gonna see this again from him. He looks like his knee is taking its toll on him, and man, he looks like a new signing. The old Arsene Wenger line. But just what was your thoughts on just that performance and him scoring that goal so early, and what it could mean? Because as you said, he's a confidence player, but. Just what was your thoughts on that opening 15-20 minutes where it was just literally like a throwback to the 2022-23 Arsenal where we really sort of very open and stuff. But what was your thoughts on
that? Firstly, can you hear me? Because I seem to be buffering a little bit again. Can you hear me?
No, you're fine. You're fine, mate.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. For me, I was very on the same line as you are, the same way of thinking. with respect that I thought he was done. It was dusted. It was finished with him. Whether that be a combination of him not being first choice, with Kai Havertz coming on board and doing very well, I thought, in 2024, and also a combination of that and his issues with his injury and his knee, as you just alluded to. And I thought, very much like yourself, Michael, I thought he's finished. I thought that's it. We got to cut our losses, and we have to let him go and get someone else in. Use him as collateral, maybe, I don't know, but didn't expect this. Didn't foresee this one iota. And you know what? I am so pleased for him. Whilst I may be speaking for myself, at times can be very critical about certain players, there's always that caveat in that criticism, in the sense that I hope they prove me wrong. I love to be proved wrong every single time, no matter who it is. And wow, did he prove me wrong over the 2 games? Just incredible. What it reminded me of, Michael, was exactly what you said. The beginning of his entry into his Arsenal career, how him and Zinchenko came on and literally electrified us. It's almost as if you had those things they use to try and restart the heart, like a super duper one on either side of the stadium, just being put on either side of the stadium and just reigniting us and electrifying our play. And that's what I remember of him and Zinchenko when they first started, and it exactly was that. It was that with him, obviously not Zinchenko, but himself, and I just could not believe what I was seeing. And then you think, okay, maybe it's a League Cup, maybe it's maybe a one-off. He carries it on again, and not just after a while, almost as you said, immediately. He we're not going to analyse the goals too much, but that first goal in particular, although the second one was probably an unbelievable strike, actually. The instinct to do that and the awareness to do that. But the first one is the fact that he's come from way outside the box. For me, that shows he's hungry again for the goals, and he's hungry again for the game. Yeah. Because I don't think we would have seen that of him maybe 4 or 5 matches ago. Yeah. Just would not have seen it. He just almost like disinterested. Yeah, he was working hard as always and putting in the time and trying to defend, but he just wouldn't. That kind of, how can you say, desire to score and get the ball in the net was just lacking. And it's complete. It's like if we just turned on a switch. If we've just gone into him, he's like an android. We put the on switch on or the booster switch on. It's just weird. But it was a strange first half, first 15 minutes. It was very chaotic. But do you know what? Although I didn't think it was fluency from both sides, I have to say, for the first time, I was just enjoying it so much. Even when they equalised, because I thought there's going to be more goals in this. And I was really enjoying it. So, that's how I saw the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was very open. I think we was watching it, and obviously we were relaying back in the chat that we've got on WhatsApp, and it kind of seemed to me that Partey was kind of left to his own devices there in the middle, and he wasn't really getting that much protection from either Havertz or Odegaard, really. And we know Palace have had a little bit of an upturn in form. They've had some good results and got a lot of energy there. Lerma and stuff and stuff. And the goal that we conceded, the foot that was really poor. I thought Saliba just wasn't at the races in the first half. I don't know what got into him. I don't know whether it was Mateta and stuff, obviously, because he's a Frenchman as well. Maybe he knows him. Maybe he had a few run-ins in the past. Who knows? But he seemed a bit off it. Raya was a bit shaky as well with his distribution as well. So credit to Palace. I think they did their homework after the game midweek. But it was very open, wasn't it? And obviously spinning it on to the second half, it wasn't until when Rice came on and added some legs to Partey alongside him, where it looked like we had a little bit of control, because he basically shut the game down himself, Rice, in that instance, and obviously he got his goal and his assist. But yes, I mean, what can you say about Jesus? That's, I think he's scored. In 61 Premier League games, I think he's got no losses when he's scored. I think, which is an incredible stat. I think 56 of those are for Man City, obviously, but he keeps that record going, and fair play to him, man. I mean, he looks like someone now that he technically, if you're going to be harsh on him, he could have scored 4. You had that header which led to Havertz's goal. he had his chance, which led to Martinelli's goal. So he could have probably had 4, but it's good that he's in those positions and he's taking the chances, because I think if he hasn't got the confidence, like you said, Neil, I think he's looking to. He's not putting himself in those positions. He's looking to maybe lay them off to people and pass to people, pass the responsibility, so to speak, rather than taking it on himself. So yeah, he looks like he's a new player. He doesn't look like he's got any kind of injury worries. So yeah, it's fantastic to see him back in form, and we kind of need it because we're going to talk about in a minute the bad news that we had midway through that first half. But we've got obviously Steve from the show. Jesus seems to have the hunger back, and hopefully he's injury free now, which had an impact on his performances. Yes, absolutely. And we've got Mac as well. Hopefully he'll be back on soon as well. Jesus, people reborn. What time to be back? He's literally like a £50 million sign. Yeah, that's what he said. He's like a new player, and we just hope it continues. Obviously got one more. So Mac, and he says he's echoing what you said, Neil. Just shows how fragile a striker's form can be. Trossard used to score for fun. Now he's scared of scoring. Now Jesus got a hat trick. Now he wants to score every time he touches the ball. Yes, yeah. It's crazy, right? That a little thing like that can go so quickly, but then when you get it back, it just gives you all this new energy. So yeah, I just hope it continues, and long may it continue. But obviously we had the incident midway through that half. We were 2-1 up at the time, and it was Bukayo Saka, wasn't it, getting his hamstring injury. He looks really bad. Had the stupid Crystal Palace player trying to get involved, and it looked like he was trying to blame the physio, and Saka were trying to delay the game, which in the first half, which is crazy. And it was funny that he. In the second half, he was playing Martinelli on side. He played about 3 Arsenal players on the side when we scored the fourth goal, and he played them all on. So it kind of says how stupid he is. But yeah, Arteta came out in his presser today and said it looks like he's going to be out for several weeks. People are saying 6 to 8, which is a bad one. It's looked like he's going to be missing 10 games, Neil, because January is so crazy with the amount of games we've got in that. What's your thoughts on that? Is it a 250th game on Saturday night? He's 23 years old. Some people are obviously said it's too many games for someone that young. Apparently, the hamstring is the same one he tweaked before earlier this season. So if that's the case, then that's a worry as well. If it's the one that's come back again. What's your thoughts on just that, Neil, in terms of, is it that he's been overpaid? Is it just a combination of that? He came on obviously midweek and made a difference against Palace and turned the game. People are saying we should be really throwing him on for that situation. Is he played too many games? Has he been mismanaged by Arteta? And what are the options? Arteta spoke about a few options, but what would you like to see, and how we deal with it going forward? Firstly,
I hope we don't panic buy in the window. Yes, we've all said it. We all need players up front, new players, fresh players. Now, especially with Saka suffering this injury, which is let me move on to that in a second. But I just don't want us to panic buy. That's the first thing, because if we panic buy, that could be even worse. And we've already, invested in, or we're not invested, but we've got Sterling, and I just think, what for? Doesn't make any sense. We don't want to be doing that again.
Yeah,
still need to keep our heads, and we still got to buy the right player for the positions that we need up front. As far as Saka's concerned, goodness me, I mean, losing Odegaard was bad, but this boy has been Mr. Consistent for how many seasons now? This is a big. This is huge. This is on. It's high up on the Richter scale. This is massive. I know Odegaard is probably, some people argue, maybe just as important, or just there and thereabouts. But I think he has done more when we have been lacking the creativity. I'm not so sure with him not there whether Odegaard can replicate what he does. If you see what I'm trying to say, I'm not right words, but I think Saka was kind of almost, he took the armband with aplomb, didn't he? He took the armband with aplomb. He did so well with that. I don't know whether that can be. I'm hope it does, but in terms of how we deal with it, maybe it's the right time that Jesus is fine form. Maybe it's the right time that Martinelli seems to have found a bit of form, and Rice. So we got our other players, if you like, our more senior players coming into that form, which could maybe bridge a little bit of the gap that we're going to have with the loss of Saka. We've got players potentially, Jesus Martinelli didn't look too bad on the right. Maybe he could play there. We can maybe Trossard has been known to play there, but I'm not so still not. Look, I'm not going to criticise him as much now, because if someone like Jesus can just turn on like that flip of a coin, then maybe Trossard can as well. So I'm going to give them all a bit of a break now from my cynicism, if you like. But as to what we do, I don't want us to panic. Have we got players that can come in and take their place? I mean, Sterling could have been that person, but I don't know whether he's going to be able to do it. At the end of the day, it's really difficult, Michael, because who is going to be at level? Nobody. Yeah. Even with the talent we've got in our squad or in our first senior team, no one is going to replicate what he can do. So all I can suggest is we're going to miss that we're going to have to build more on the left, because we always seem to be favouring the right because of Saka. We're going to have to lose that, and we're going to have to compensate in other areas. And those other areas are maybe some of the players I just gave an example of. Timber maybe it might be best for him to stay on the right as well, because he's amazing. He's a tremendous player, defensively and attacking wise. So maybe he can help with that void on the right. But I don't panic buy. That's my main thing.
Yeah, I think he did mention. He's mentioned, as you have, the options that we've got. You could put maybe Ethan out there, but I think it's going to go probably. It's going to be Martinelli on the right, Trossard on the left, but then you're kind of short a cover there, because obviously Sterling's out as well at the same time, and then you've got Havertz. Obviously, you can play as a left eight up front. So you've got options, you've got bodies, but I think we need to invest. And I think there are a couple of names in the market, a couple of names that have been mentioned. Because I think what the club are looking at is probably doing something big in the summer for this number 9. So they're probably looking at, can we do it financially? Can we get someone in, who's reasonable and who's going to make an impact, and then have the money as well to do what we need to do in the summer. Obviously my dream would be someone like Isaac in the summer, but I think it's probably going to be Sesko, who's going to be a little bit cheaper, considerably cheaper. But I think there are a couple of bodies in players in the Premier League who can come in and do a job. But because they are Premier League, they're going to cost a little bit more. There's the premium. We're going to play a premium for them, because obviously they won't want to lose their players at this stage of the season. But yeah, just disappointing. We were 2-1 up at the time, weren't we, when Saka went off? We scored 3 more goals after he went off. So that's a kind of, silver lining, that we were able to function. We were able to have some output, in the latter stages without him. But yeah, you're right. I think Martinelli will work well with Odegaard, because I think Odegaard likes those little passes down the channels, doesn't he? And then I think because Martinelli's got the pace to get onto those, he can maybe stretch teams a little bit that way once we get into those positions, if we work into those positions. So I think he's got the options, but we just need to have a bit of a fair run with these injuries, man, because we seem to get one player back as usual with Arsenal, get one player back and then another one goes out. We've got Jesus back, bang on form, and then Saka goes out, and it always seems to be the way. What was your thoughts on a couple of other players you want to give you flowers to, Neil? I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly was so composed again, 18 years old, playing at a dark and grimy South London, on Saturday night, hugging that touchline, with all those fans probably hurling all sorts of abuse at him. And the guy he's the coolest kid on the pitch. God. Coolest guy on the pitch. What's your thoughts on him? And it's funny how it seems like he's got the entry into the first team quicker than Wanyeri, isn't it?
Before I say that, I forgot to answer part of your question, and I'll do it be brief. Yes, I do think Saka's been overplayed. I think that's part of the cause, 100%. There've been a few games where he didn't need to come on and he was brought on, and I just never understood it. So yeah, that's the answer. But as I've always said, I'm nobody. I'm not any manager. I know nothing. I'm just giving my 2 cents, whatever they're worth. Louis, Skelly, oh my God, what a player. We've got Timber on one side, and I think he's almost like a mirror image of him on the other side. They almost kind of look kind of similar physically as well, and I just love them both. What we've got some great players. There's so much to look forward to. There are times when we're going through the doldrums and we're having some bad results, or maybe not so good results in the sense that we're losing ground on the top teams. But when you reanalyze the squad and look at some of these players, wow, future looks good in that respect. At least there's trying to put some positivity on the times where maybe things aren't so positive. This kid, you're right. I mean, for me, you know how much I've been wanting Ethan to play non-stop and been going on and on about it. And this guy's just come through the side. He's not come from the front entrance. He's just come from the side. He's like, oh, here I am, and look at what I can do. And is he impressive or is he impressive? He's so calm. He's so collected. He's so deliberate. It's almost, I think I might have described it on one of the other pods, but I can't remember which one it was. And I said that when he's on the ball, you feel like he's slow, but what he's doing, he's calculating. I feel like he's calculating. He's almost assessing what's the best thing to do. So it feels slow. It might look slow, but it actually isn't. It's just the way he is, the way he can. He sometimes you think it reminds me of Saliba in the early days, where he gets kind of like cornered, or there's a couple of players coming up to him, and you think he's no way he's going to keep the ball, and he just does it.
Yeah,
he just rounds them with the ball, and he just does it, and then he's managed to not only do that, but then forward get a pass through, which will then maybe potentially lead on to a potential attack. This kid is amazing, and then to do that at his age, as you said, in a hostile environment, and not even bat an eyelid. Wow, this kid's brilliant. Him. You've got Saka. Hopefully, will return as good as ever, and then you've got Enweri. I can never pronounce it right. Ethan, I'll just call him. Three young sparks. Because let's not forget, Saka's not old yet. Everyone thinks he's like the old man, but he ain't. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Oh man, that is a formidable trio just in itself. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, the fact that he's so young, 18, and he's playing like that, so composed on the ball, really intelligent. As you said, it's almost like he's a mirror of Timber on the other side. Especially when he inverts as well. Really, really smart player. I just think one of the key things is I think we mentioned a couple of shows ago, players having game intelligence and knowing when to do certain things and to be calm and execute when required. And I think he definitely does that. The only time I think he's had an issue was when we conceded that goal against Liverpool, when we drew 2-2 when the goal came down his side. And I think since then, I think he's learnt from that. He's definitely learnt from that, and he looks so composed. I just think with Calafiori coming back as well, which was good to see. He got an assist as well, didn't he? That left-hand side is just a bit stronger now. It's just a shame we haven't got anyone on the right-hand side to help Timber out, to come in and out. Ben White, obviously, he's out for a while as well. Tomiyasu as well. So, but yeah, you can't fault, Miles Lewis-Skelly's just been tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And it's good to know that you've got someone there who you can rely on, whether that means he comes in the rotational system or he just stays in the team now. Obviously, we got Ipswich on the 27th.
Don't forget we got Tierney as well.
Tierney, that left side did really well. We're stocked with left backs. All of a sudden, they just come back, like buses, don't they? And then it's the right hand side we have problems with. So I just seen a couple of message in the chat. Thanks, guys. So from Matt, talking about the transfer window, it was all about transfer window was all about buying defensive players for Arteta. There was no focus on the backup for Saka, which has probably been the case for a couple of years now, hasn't it? Now he's injured. We are scrambling. Hopefully, the players step up. Steve says Arteta will move pieces around. Trossard and Martinelli will be on the wings, and then we may see another youth player get a chance. Maybe. Rice, Martinelli, Ranieri have to fill the gap until January. Then the transfer window will bring in someone like Rashford. But I don't know about that. We definitely can't get him on loan because we are only allowed 2 loan players a season in a season, and we've got that with obviously Neto and Sterling, which really haven't worked out, have they? In a sense, when you in a cold light of day, they've been 2 wasteful loans, which I know we needed to get a goalkeeper in, a senior goalkeeper in, but again, that was down to a bad summer window. I don't know. So I don't care what anyone says, but the window wasn't structured the way it should have been, and that's probably why things have worked out the way they have, with Edu maybe exiting stage left. Steve saying sorry, agreeing with you, Neil. No need to panic buy in January. And Steve's just touching on Miles Lewis-Skelly. He saved us some money, and he moved into middle. Yeah, because they're saying that he's looking at him being a 6 or even an 8 as well. And then Lewis-Skelly's special talent, the fact that he's starting at left back, and there are no worries from the manager of his composure control. Yeah, and the ability to speak with football brain. Yeah. What they're doing at Hale End is pretty special at the moment. And there's a kid called Max Dowman, who's 14 years old, and he's been training with the first team. And I wonder if Mikel's going to absolutely rattle the football world again by putting a 14-year-old on the bench just for banter. And then when we smack someone else away from home, we score another 5 goals away from home and get someone, maybe put him on. And all the pundits can come out and say, oh, look, he's messed the kid's career up. He's done it for selfish reasons. So I'd love to see that, just to see the whole fan base rattle. Because I think at the end of the day, Neil, it's amazing the coverage that we get. I've seen a couple of things on social media about Saka's injury, and people are actually happy about that. Rival fans are saying, karma and stuff like that. Because apparently there was a handful of Arsenal fans who were praising or happy that Konate got injured for Liverpool. But some of the stuff you see, obviously Dark Arts FC and all that stuff, it's getting a bit ridiculous now. Terrorist football and all that stuff. I just think people are upset or triggered that we can win in so many different ways. We can park the bus and beat you. We can play open football and score a few goals past you. Or we can just beat you at set pieces. Obviously, last week was a bit of a struggle against Everton, but yeah, it's funny just the reaction that we continue to get still, when it comes to us. But what was your thoughts on just on Arteta? Obviously, Arteta's 5 years in the role. Obviously, he's had his ups and downs, as we know, Neil. But if you had to give him a rating, I'm going to throw it on you a little bit, but how things have gone so far since he first come in, what would you give him a mark out of 10 in just how he's done so far these first 5 years? When you take into account of what he walked into, his first job, who he had to fight against, on and off the pitch, let's say, and to where we are now, where we're talked about as title contenders and we rattle everyone and we batter everyone, wherever we go, sort of thing. What's your thoughts on just how his 5 years have gone, and what would you give him a rating out of 10?
How he's done, a lot of people would argue that there isn't any progression because we haven't actually won anything. Well, it's not always marked against what you're winning. It's about how you are as a team for the season. End of the day, the Premiership or the league is the most important for me because it shows consistency. And from going from 2 8th places to a 5th and then to 2 seconds, when actually we were deemed favourites for part of the first 2 seasons ago because we were doing so well, very unexpectedly. And then actually at the beginning of last season, I think we were dubbed favourites. In fact, that's remarkable progress. Yes, we didn't actually finish it off. We didn't cross the line, but to create that, and then not forgetting, obviously, in his first half season or whatever it was, he won the FA Cup. It's a bit, people are going to argue it like they argue Liverpool winning the title. It's COVID. It's a bit different, but at the end of the day, he's got that cup behind him. And then he's had to deal with quite a lot of a few challenges. You got certain players that weren't kind of singing on the same hymn sheet as him, and he had to deal with them. And we found that he was actually quite ruthless when he needed to be. There have been times where we have criticised his in-game management, Michael, and his
Yeah.
substitutions and
Yeah.
player management. So let's not
Last
forget.
week we were.
Well, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
not all roses. There are some downsides to it, some negatives, but then you've got to try and understand. Now, this is the bit where I would probably increase his mark, because this is the guy's first ever managerial position.
Yeah.
And that's pretty impressive, to take over a big club and to make them favourites for the title within 4 years or 3 years or whatever it was. And I'm probably no doubt that we're going to be one of the favourites, even no matter what happens in 24-25. I'm pretty sure we're going to be dubbed as one of the favourites for 25-26.
Yeah.
So that in itself is great. But I have got some criticisms as well, where you just question, you're scratching your head. Well, what the hell are you doing, and why are you doing this? We don't get it. Certain players that should have been played when they weren't played, and then vice versa. And you think, so, but that's the manager's life, right? You're going to get all fans of all walks of life criticising the manager of the club that they love. So in terms of a score, it's a really difficult one. I mean, I don't want to be too generous, and I don't want to be too stingy. So I'd love to know what you're going to give him, but I'll go 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to go 7.5. I think what he's done in terms of making us relevant again, taking us into a title challenge, maybe maybe more experienced managers to get us over the line in those circumstances. But obviously, look at who we were up against, and then a manager who has created a team that has scored, in a calendar year, has scored 88 goals in a calendar year. The highest before that was 86 in a calendar year. That was done in 2009 and 2004, 2009. But we've broken that. Which you got to tip your hat off to him there. Obviously, we've got a game to come against Ipswich, which you're hopeful that should be
hopefully
a high scoring game. Hopefully, hopefully, and obviously the record that we've got
as well,
which is this, obviously. I mean, West Ham got it. We took it personally against them. But you've got a team playing like that. You're thinking we're doing that stuff, and we're scoring the amount of goals that we scored, and the most goals that we scored last season in the league as well. And there's still this clamour for a forward, and people say, well, if you get a forward, you take things away, and it's not really. It's just to make us stronger, to give us more options. That's what we want that striker for, because there's going to be some games where you may not need that out and out, gunman number 9, but there are going to be games where you definitely need one, and we've had a few of them. Obviously, in the last couple of weeks, the Fulham game and the Everton game, where you just want one of those kind of half chances to fall to someone. Not clear-cut chances, it's the half chances, that you want to fall to someone who's just going to be a bit more clinical. So, credit to him. I'm with you. I'll give him the same mark, because I think what he's done and where he's turned everything around, and it's his first job as well. And yes, there has been mistakes and what have you, but to get to where he's got, it's kind of exceeded my expectation, because I think we probably, to a man on the Purely chat, when we first sort of talked about him, and we were looking at Liverpool and City and thinking, we're 5 years away from these guys, and 3 years in, we almost won a title, and then 4 years in, we almost won it again. So you've got to kind of give him his credit for what he's done and how he's managed, the speed he's managed to do it. Just need to get one over the line, Neil. That could all change. You never know with a particular court case. When the news comes out for that, we may get retrospective titles and stuff. Who knows? And he may have got it, but 7.5. I'll give Arteta for what he's done. What's your thoughts looking ahead, Neil? Obviously, we've got Christmas to come, and then we've got Ipswich, who obviously, on their last visit to the North London, got 3 points against the Comedy Club, and in the toilet bowl and stuff, and just giving away 3 points, to everybody. It seems, which is great to see. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you stick with the same team? Can you do that with the quick rotation because you've got Brentford a few days after, or do you look at maybe putting try maybe Ethan on the right to see what he does there, or do you just go Martinelli strong on the right and Trossard on the left the way we finished the game on Saturday? What's your thoughts on that?
I think firstly we're going to have too much for Ipswich. I think it's going to be a big score. I think it's going to be a big score home because we don't do that as much at home as we have done away. I think we need a big whopping 5 or 6-0 smashing, and hopefully it will be an early what then will be an early New Year's present for us. So I would like to see pretty much more of the team that was in the second half, because I think Rice has definitely improved. Rice is definitely getting back to himself for me. Martinelli has shown signs of some improvement, and maybe not just him scoring that goal, which I think was almost like it wasn't much. He didn't have to do much, did he? He was just standing there and it just came to him at speed. But yeah, all right, he still got the goal, so fair play. But I think he has improved from what we've been seeing. I think he's going to be buoyed by what he's seen from Jesus, a fellow Brazilian who's been struggling as well.
Yeah.
I don't read too much into the message he's got from Ian Wright. I mean, that's going to turn him into a world-class striker overnight just because Ian Wright's giving him a message. I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong; it's lovely to see that. But I think just from within himself, he may be buoyed on by what he's seen with Jesus. So I think he could be the answer for the right for the moment. Of course, you got to play Tim, but I have to say you play Skelly, you keep him exactly where he is. I know Rico came on and he wasn't bad and he got an assist, but I don't think that Skelly it would be unfair to now take him away from it. But he might have plans of playing Skelly on the game after, so he might do a bit of rotation. But I think the crux of it should be as it was with Rice involved. Obviously Odegaard, because he's our main conductor for the orchestra, and leave everything else pretty much as it is. My only concern with the player that I've absolutely loved this season is Havertz. He scored, but that was again it was actually a good goal. It was a good instinctive knowing to be there and the first to react. So I did like it, but at the same time, I think I've seen a drop off in him. I don't know whether you agree or not. I'd like to see him get that back. I don't know what else how else there is to say. The midfield, Partey, if he plays, stop playing him at right back. Just keep him in the middle. But then, who do we combine him with? It's a good headache to have. But Skelly, Martinelli on the right, Skelly, I would play keep Timber where he is. And then maybe shuffle a few of the others, but there's 2 or 3 that I want to see start against Ipswich.
Yeah, I think he even put Partey right back, didn't he, when he made these changes? So I think Partey literally is going to be the cover for Timber. Just need to get Tomiyasu back, man, and hopefully when he gets back, that's it. He can just stay fit because I think he's on borrowed time. Anyway, but if he manages to come back and then gets injured again, could you imagine? That's it. He's done. There's no way back for him. I don't think. No way back. Just go back to the Arteta ratings. Max has said 6 out of 10, plenty of positives, but the bottom line is there've been loads of own goals, the goalkeeping mistakes, not buying a replacement for Uber, obsession with defenders, lack of trophies. Yeah, fair play. This is what I mean. It's kind of a good conversation. I'll say 7 from Steve. Plenty to improve on, lots of mistakes, but he's changed the way we think about our club and for the positive. It's Arsenal above all. With Arteta, I love that. No, nice one. Nice caveat there from Steve. But I kind of agree with that. I agree with what you said about with the team as well. I think we should have too much for them. I think they are very not patronising or condescending. They do have a go. They are willing triers. They're not a team that are going to go and park the bus. They are going to try and take their shot basically. And so I think it will be an open game, and it won't be like an Everton situation where they'll just park and the bus and then we're just having just not step into it. I think with Jesus on the form that he is and the energy that he brings and the chaos as well, which I think, again, is something that we mentioned in the show before. We lacked that in the final third, and he definitely brings that now on that form he's on. So hopefully, we'll have too much, and I would like to see Martinelli. I'm excited to see Martinelli and Odegaard link up and just see how he can release him with those little cute passes he does, because I just think, Martinelli is probably the quickest player in the team, so he'll be able to get onto those. And the fact that he's on the right hand side on his right foot, he'll just won't have to think about things so much. He can just,
so long as he stays on side.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, true, very true. But great win, a great win to bounce back from the disappointment of the Everton game and the Fulham game. That pretty much on the floor at that point, and obviously the fact that what Liverpool had done, and obviously it seems like we're matching their results at the moment. High scoring as well against the Comedy Club, and it's frustrating. You just can't rely on those guys to do anything, can you? Absolutely anything. Just a joke. But I hope he stays in charge by the time we play them. We played them, I think, in middle of January, and it'd be nice to see him play his high line against our team at the carpet, because it could be a massacre, and I think that could be the final nail in the coffin. So just keep him there until then, at least, please. They'll probably end up scoring one and got past us, but I could see a score. Maybe another 5-2 would be nice. It's been a while since you had one of those. But yeah, fingers crossed. Neil, was there anything else you wanted to say about the performance, or just how things have gone for you as an Arsenal fan for the year? I mean, obviously appreciate you coming on. Appreciate Steve and Mac and everyone watching, coming back to the show. I really appreciate it, and the support and everything. And obviously we'll try and get a show out between now and the new year, following the Ipswich game, but it might be difficult when you've got 3 mental kids who will be absolutely causing chaos in the house with their presents that they're going to get, obviously, between that time. So it's unlikely. But was there anything you wanted to just say? Just your thoughts on the season? You've been lucky to go to a few games, and don't want to say that, say too much about that. Obviously you're very lucky to go, and stuff. But yeah, what was your thoughts on just how things have gone this year?
2 things. One, obviously, just congratulations to you and the team to do this podcast. I've loved it from the moment I saw it in its inception. Was lucky enough to be on the first show, and just glad that you still asked me on after that performance. Maybe you got a bit of arthritis on you, mate. Maybe you need to rethink your player management. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's been a blessing to be on a wonderful platform, and there's so much positivity about it and around it, and you got great people coming on as guests and making the panel interesting and just with lots of different viewpoints. It's amazing. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And then as for the football, look, I'm disappointed that we just didn't cross the line in the last 2 seasons. Of course it is. If any fan said, "Oh yeah, but it's not all about that," you're lying. Come on. Who doesn't want to win a trophy? Who doesn't want to be part of that euphoric moment when you're like, "Oh my God, we've done it," scoring a winner in a cup game, or lifting the title and seeing the players jubilant, and it makes such a difference to your lives. You could be going through a bad patch, and in your own personal life, and then you have this, and it just makes everything so much better. And that's not just even with title wins. It could just be a Saturday or a Sunday game. Things might not be going so well for you, and then you get this, and you just get a moment of seeing players doing their thing and lifting your spirits. And that's what it's all about. I don't see football as just a game, Michael. I see it as an investment in time and investment in your emotion. And it's a big part of your life. And it can mean many, many things on many different levels. It's not just about kicking the ball around a pitch for 90 minutes. I think people who don't really understand that, that's fine. I mean, no one's expecting you to understand it, but then don't criticize those people who invest and love the game so much. It's much bigger than that for me. And that's why I love it. So, yeah, disappointed that we might not cross the line. But you know what? The fact, as you said earlier, I think it was Mark that said that we're 5, 6, maybe even 10 years behind these guys. and then to have now being maybe one of the favourites, if not the favourites on occasion, to win it, that's incredible. So to be part of that, to be involved, and the most important thing, Michael, we actually care about the next game. Do you remember there was a time we were thinking, not even looking forward to it. We know what's going to happen, I'm not looking forward to it. The fact that now we get upset when we only draw, whereas before a draw was actually a goal dust for us. Now we're upset when we drop 2 points. That's the change, and that's what makes it exciting again. So that's the kind of year it's been, and thank you to you as well.
No, I appreciate that, Neil. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, there was a spell. It was just like, it was horrible, wasn't it? You just didn't. You just had no energy. You fell out of love with the club a little bit, and thinking what the hell's going on. And look at it now, as Steve said, we've got a connection with the club. We just need to get that trophy over the line, and whether that a Carabao and would be nice, as well as something else. People are saying, "Oh, he's a Carabao. Is that enough?" It isn't enough. But if you get that and something else in the season, then of course that'd be lovely. So a long way to go. Liverpool, again, we had the banner last couple of shows ago. Premier League champions, 24-25. Congrats to them. After their result yesterday, everybody seems to be giving them the title. So it is what it is. We're just fighting for second place with Chelsea. It seems at the moment. So. Fair play. But no, thank you for everybody watching. Really appreciate the comments and the chat and support over the season. Hopefully we can get something out. If we don't get something out between now and the new year, then we'll get something out, obviously, as soon as we can. And hopefully this run of games, 10 games unbeaten since the Inter game that we've had going. Hopefully we can keep it going. We do need to keep it going to try and get a bit of pressure on the teams, a team at the top. So Neil, thanks very much. Really appreciate your time. Pleasure. As always. Thanks for Steve, Mac, and everybody else in the chat who dropped some comments. Really appreciate it. And all that's left is to say, wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And if we don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year. And with that, we're out for 2024.
The central figure again, and he looks to trick Michael.